Okay. So today we'll see pricing decision and analysis. That is just to determine the prices of industrial products, especially new industrial products. You want to determine the price, what price to charge for them. So that one analysis process is done, which is known as pricing decision analysis, where they analyze various factors like what is the cost of producing that product, what is the demand, customer demand in the market, what is the market conditions, is it booming or is it in recession, who are the competitors, are there any competitors, what is their price, all these factors you will analyze in pricing decision analysis. So to analyze the profitability to find out the profitability of the products, you do break-even analysis. That is the first step that you do in profitability analysis. You do the break-even analysis to see the impact of pricing decisions on the sales and on the profits. So break-even analysis, all of you know, it is no loss, no profit pricing method where the total revenue is equal to the total cost. So there is zero profit at a particular volume of sales. The total sales is equal to the total cost. So that is the break-even point. So this is the formula for break-even point in rupees and in a number of units. So in break-even point, it is the cost of production. We consider both fixed cost and variable cost, where fixed cost is recovered in the beginning itself in the short term when the company is selling its products, and in the so that is why the in the break even point they say that the company will not make any profit because it's recovering whatever it has invested. But in the long run, they say in break even point, we can earn the profits because the fixed cost have been recovered in the beginning. So whatever gain after that, it will be profit for the company. So these are the formulas for break even point in units and break even point in sales, rupees. So next we go to ROI analysis, return on investment analysis. Here also the ROI can be used as a method to determine the prices for your industrial products. So in ROI you calculate how much is the rate of return you are getting on a certain capital that you have invested. So when you find out ROI, you will come to know at what price you should sell your industrial product to get that ROI, to get that desired return from the capital investment invested. So this profit is added to the cost of production. That is what is the ROI they will get. That is added to the cost of production, and then the price per unit is determined. So this is how you calculate the price of the industrial products by using the ROI method. So here in this method, company can come to know what is the desired return they will get on an amount which has been invested by the company. So this ROI method can be used only when there is competition in the market. When there is zero competition in the market, you cannot calculate ROI on your capital which has been invested. So this method, ROI method, helps you to determine the prices of your industrial products. So take down price decision analysis. Pricing decision analysis is a process to determine prices of industrial products by using BEP, that is break even point method, BEP, and ROI analysis. So next we come to learning curves. What is learning curve? Learning curve is also known as experience curve. Here the companies can use this learning curve to plan for their production, to forecast their costs, and to also determine their delivery schedules. So these learning curves are shown graphically. It shows that when the cost amount of output increases, the cost per unit comes down. So this learning curve is graphically showing the relationship between cost and benefits. So as the output increases, the workers are getting more experience in doing repeated tasks where mechanization is very less. So when they do repeated tasks like assembly line production, like cars and all, that is assembly line production. In a line, the parts of the car will be added. And finally, at the end of the assembly line, you will get the finished car. So learning curves are used to find out the efficiency of production in assembly line, where there is assembly line production and where the workers are doing repeated tasks. So here mechanization is very little or zero. Mechanization means machines. Usage of machines is very little or it is very zero. So what the learning curve says, as the output increases, the workers get more experience, they learn more how to do the repeated task efficiently. So that time the cost per unit comes down. So this learning curve can also be used to determine the prices of your new industrial product. So take down learning curves. Learning curves are graphs which show that as the output increases, learning and experience among the work as the output increases, learning and experience increases of workers, they become more efficient in repeated tasks. This brings down the cost per unit. This brings down the cost per unit. So this learning curve is also known as productivity curve or efficiency curve. This is to find out the progress or efficiency or improvement in your production. This learning curve will show what are the new skills or knowledge the workers have gained and how it has made the production efficient and how it has reduced the cost per unit since the workers have learned something new and they have become more efficient. So these learning curves are also used to determine the prices of your industrial products. Now what are the advantages of LC? LC means learning curve. There is some loose contact here. So the advantages of LC, that is learning curve, you can analyze the relationship between cost, volume and profit. So and you can estimate your cost, you can forecast your cost, you can forecast your production, you can do budgeting, you can do profit planning, you can do manpower planning. It keeps on going. So it can also help to do manpower planning for your long-term contracts, long duration contracts, especially when the work is repeated. It's a repeated clerical work where very little mechanization is there, machines are used, and you can also reduce cost. You can improve learning of your employees. You can also find out the efficiency of your training programs. So these are the advantages of LC, that is learning curve. What is the relationship between cost, volume and profit in LC? What is the relationship? See what you wrote just now, what you typed just now, the definition for LC. See that and tell me what is the relationship between cost, volume and profit. Read that, what you have written down. Read. Have you typed it? What I dictated now. LC. Learning curve. No. Charan, you were typing, no? In your mobile. See what you have typed. Read that. Yeah. But what is the relationship it is telling between cost, volume, and profit? Yeah, we'll get more profit and more volume of production. And this will bring down the cost. This will bring down the cost. So LC is showing that. It is showing that as the workers become more efficient, production increases, volume of production increases, profit increases, and your cost per unit comes down. So that is what basically learning curve is telling you. Now, disadvantages of learning curve, it cannot be used for all types of production because only it can be used for assembly line production where the workers are doing repeated tasks, assembling a product, they are assembling a car or something. So for repeated tasks where very little machinery is being used, only for that kind of production you can use the learning curve. And the learning curve assumes that production happens continuously without break. But in reality, does production happen continuously without break? In reality, does production happen continuously without break? In reality, no, it does not happen because power can go off or workers can do strike or machinery can break down. Anything can happen. Yes, machinery has to cool down. So machinery breakdown can happen. The power can go off. Workers can go on strike. Raw material can go shortage. So in reality, production does not happen continuously without a break. So this LC learning curve cannot be applied to in those kind of production where there is a chance of interruption, where the production can be interrupted due to various factors. So next we see payoff analysis. Payoff analysis is finding out in a form of a graph. It is a payoff matrix where the in the graph the decision makers or engineers can visualize. They can see visually what will be the potential outcome if they take a particular decision, if they follow a particular course of action, or if they follow a particular strategy, what will be the potential outcome they can see graphically. They can find out what will be the risk, what will be the reward. if they take that particular course of action. So that is known as payoff analysis. So payoff analysis is also analysis with which you can determine the prices of your industrial products, and you can find out the impact of your various decisions, various strategic decisions that you are taking, and you can find out which strategy is going to be more suitable for you, where the risk is less and where the reward is more. You can find out with the help of this payoff analysis. So take down payoff analysis. Payoff analysis is a matrix which is shown on graph. It helps the decision makers. It helps the decision makers to make informed decisions. Informed decisions. Where for each decision the payoff matrix will show what will be the potential outcome, what is the risk and the reward for each decision taken. Terms of payment. There are 7 types of payment terms which is commonly used in industrial marketing. One is plain credit. Plain credit means the buyer will pay the full amount after he receives the goods, or he will pay the balance amount. If he has paid an advance, he will pay the balance amount once he receives the goods. So that is known as plain credit. This is one form of payment in industrial market. Usually the credit period will be 30 days, 60 days or 90 days, and this sellers are not interested in giving credit most of the time. Why? Because their cash flow will get affected if the buyer does not make the payment in time. Secondly, the seller is not trusting the buyer that he will make the payment on time. So for these reasons, the seller is not interested to give on credit to the buyer. So what to avoid this credit, what the seller does, he will reduce the price so that he will avoid giving credit to the buyer, or he will increase the price if the seller if the buyer extends the credit period. If the buyer extends the credit period, say from 60 days or to 90 days, or from 30 days to 90 days, then the seller will increase the price. So this is one a term of payment which is used in industrial marketing. Then next we come to Hundi. Hundi is a promise, which it is a term of payment which is used in industrial marketing. Hundi. Hundi. Yeah. So here the buyer will give a promise in writing to the seller that he will make the payment. That is known as Hundi. 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 So this promise which is given in writing by the buyer to the seller, it will be more authentic if it is accepted by banks. So the seller will give it to the bank and make the bank to accept it. If the bank accepts it and approves it, then the seller is assured that he will get the payment from the buyer. So this is a term of payment which is used in industrial marketing. Then third one is letter of credit, LOC. You know what is letter of credit? LOC? No. So letter of credit, huh? Yeah, what are the terms and conditions of that transaction? It will be mentioned. Yes, it is. It will be mutually agreed between buyer and seller. What are the terms and conditions, and it will be mentioned in the document. That is known as letter of credit. So, letter of credit is a financial tool which is used in international trade mainly, where the buyer is assuring payment to the seller. So here in letter of credit, the terms and conditions of that deal or of that transaction will be mentioned, and all the sales agreement, everything will be mentioned. The buyer's bank will draft the LOC. That means they will prepare the LOC with all the terms and conditions, and they will send it to the seller's bank. The seller's bank will go through the LOC and they will approve it. Once it is approved, it is sent back to the seller, and then the seller will dispatch the goods to the buyer, and the buyer's bank will receive the documentation after approval, and then after receiving the goods, the buyer will make the payment to the seller's bank, or the buyer's bank will pay the money to the seller's bank. This is how letter of credit happens. So take down Hundi, HUNDI, is a term of payment in industrial marketing. Payment in industrial marketing, where the buyer makes a promise in writing to the seller. Writing. He will give it in writing to the seller. This assures payment to the seller. A Hundi should be accepted by banks and approved. Then seller is assured of payment.